The ambition to become a sea power pushed China into the race to build a series of warships. Among these, the development of the Carrier Combat Group is considered an important content. After Liaoning, a Variak aircraft cruiser purchased from Ukraine, China commissioned the first indigenous aircraft carrier, Type 001A Shandong, in December 2019. Construction of new carriers is still underway, including carriers with electromagnetic catapult technology. However, the carrier game is not an easy one. The operation of the Liaoning has exposed China's technical weaknesses, but the most important thing is to have carrier-based fighters that are reliable and powerful enough to take advantage of the aircraft carrier. To fulfill its aircraft carrier dream, China quickly developed the J-15, a carrier-based fighter based on the Su-33 prototype, was acquired from Ukraine in 2001. Since its inception in 2015, the Chinese media has hailed the J-15 as an excellent fighter, on par or better than its counterpart. The J-15 Flying Shark was immediately compared to the US Navy's two-seat F-A-18E Super Hornet fighter. The US has begun commissioning the F-35C for the US Navy in limited numbers. With 11 aircraft carriers, however, it will be far from the necessary numbers of F-35Cs. Until then, the F-A-18E Super Hornet will remain the backbone of the US Navy Air Force. Recent tensions between the two countries and uncertainties in the South China Sea make the J-15 and F-A-18E likely rivals in a potential sea conflict. The battle between the two main carrier-based fighters of the US and China is a favorite topic for observers and military enthusiasts. In terms of design, the original F-A-18E was intended to be an attack aircraft, so in terms of maneuverability, it could not be compared to a specialized fighter jet like the J-15. But in terms of the carrier-based fighter, the strength of the F-A-18E with a wide variety of weapon systems is much greater than that of the J-15. Both fighters are aiming for large fighter design to carry more fuel, increase combat radius, and weapon payload. The J-15 is no exception. In terms of engines, the J-15 uses Shenyang WS-10 afterburning turbofan engines with 132 kN thrust each, while the F-A-18E uses General Electric F414GE 400 turbofan engines, producing 98 kN each. As can be seen, the Chinese military has stated that the J-15 is superior to the US Super Hornet, and in some narrow respects, this is true. Engine differences make the speed and maneuverability of the F-A-18E not equal to that of the J-15. The J-15 is faster with a maximum speed of 2,409 km per hour, compared to 1,915 km per hour for the Super Hornet, has a maximum Z-load of 8.5 compared to 7.5. Possibly a bit higher flying with a service ceiling of 16,700 meters compared to 15,000 meters, and it might technically even have a longer range. Objectively, the J-15 is superior to the F-A-18E in terms of size, speed, service ceiling, combat radius, and maneuverability. Theoretically, in a one-on-one fight, given the same pilot qualifications, the Super Hornet is unlikely to win against the J-15. In fact, all Chinese carriers use the curved ski jump style flight deck. The J-15 has to reduce its payload, fuel, and weapons much lower than its design, making its actual combat capabilities not as high as intended. Chinese WS-10 turbofans have proven extremely trouble-prone and require frequent factor level maintenance. Meanwhile, Super Hornet uses a more advanced captable assisted takeoff system, helping to maximize the full power of the war machine. The upgrades of the GE F414 engine are a breakthrough, easy to maintain and reliable. Comparing navigation systems, radar and avionics, it is clear that the A-18EF is far superior to the J-15. Keep in mind that the J-15 is based on an incomplete Su-33 prototype produced in the 1980s. Furthermore, the Super Hornet has a wealth of combat experience compared with the J-15, which is almost zero. The upgraded version of the A-18EF is much more powerful than its original. When first produced, the A-18EF used the APG-73, later replaced by the AN/APG-79 active electronically scan array radar. In modern air combat, advanced radars combined with AIM-120C medium-range air-to-air missiles and AIM-9X short-range air-to-air missiles will help the A-18EF detect the enemy first and is dominant in air attack. The J-15 has an eye-catching appearance, featuring a modern glass cockpit with hands-on throttle and stick controls, transmitting commands through a fly-by-wire system and a modern heads-up display. It also has an infrared search and track system, something most US fighters lack. It also has a laser-range fighter turret in front of the canopy, which is useful for discreetly stalking adversaries at short range and detecting stealth aircraft. The airframe is also reportedly covered in radar-absorbent coating. China is currently working on the EASA radar, but the gap between research and mass production varies greatly, and it is believed that the EASA radar that the J-15 is using is likely to be inferior to that of the US. It is also important to consider the element of systemic antagonism in battles between aircraft carriers, such as modern warning aircraft, especially those with a very long range from the mothership. In this respect, Liaoning and Shandong are too obsolete compared to US carriers. Modern early warning aircraft can detect enemy aircraft from a distance, helping the A-18EF to have decisive parameters in aerial combat, such as number of aircraft, squadron shape, and direction of enemy, to have suitable coping strategies. These advantages are enough to make up for the lack of maneuverability of the Super Hornet. In terms of weapon systems, the A-18EF is superior to the J-15. It has had a lot of experience through the wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, and so on. The A-18EF can carry weapons such as AGM-88 anti-radiation missile, AGM-154 glide bomb with a range of 130 km, SLAM-ER land attack missile with a range of 250 km, AGM-65 Maverick air-to-ground missile with a range of 22 km, AGM-84 anti-ship missile with a range of 220 km to 315 km. Super Hornet air-to-air weapons include 4 AIM-9X short-range air-to-air missiles, 4 AIM-120C medium-range air-to-air missiles. There are also other guided and unguided bombs. Where needed, the A-18EF can be compatible with all air weapons that the US has. Meanwhile, the J-15 is still too young and still in development. The weapon system is still unknown, but considering all the most advanced weapons China has, such as the SD-10, PL-12 air-to-air missile, the YJ-82 subsonic anti-ship cruise missile, the KT-88 anti-ship missile, etc., all of them are inferior to all US weapons, especially the range and the accuracy. If the J-15 uses all the Russian air attack weapons they have, such as K-31, K-58, K-59, R-73, R-77, KAB-500 satellite guided bomb, etc., then reluctance to be comparable to the A-18E. Of course, China still has a long way to go before it can catch up with the US Navy, but with what has been done early in the past 2 decades, there is no doubt the Chinese will eventually somehow acquire the how-know in the defense industry and will catch up with the West. My video of J-15 and A-18E fighter ends here. Thank you for watching. If you find this video interesting, please give me your thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to support the channel. Goodbye and see you again.